And for the axe, I chose the ancient Opki or Opki. Originally, I had, let me see. I originally had this axe for his classic look, but I like this one better because in the arcade machines, in MK3, his axe was more rectangular. It wasn't like a classic, like, you know, curved kind of looking like that. It was just more straight, more rectangular. So I chose that one. For his outfit, the Tribe's Guardian is definitely the closest to the classic look that you can get. If you don't have it, you can substitute it for the Spirit Walker. But Tribe's Guardian is going to give you that perfect, almost perfect looking classic look. The intro doesn't matter. The victory pose, choose Matoken Heart, because it's his classic pose from MK3. And for abilities, choose Ancestral Light, because when you have this ability chosen, you'll be able to perform his classic fatality where he brings the beam of light and disintegrates his opponent. Now here comes the Joker. I didn't really know how to make him look too classic, so I just I tried to make him look like he came out of one of those classic Batman arcade machine, one of those classic Batman comic strips. So for his hair, Smooth Criminal, because it's the most like cartoony looking like hairstyle, kind of like the cool little cat ears or bat ears of the one little furl in the middle. For the cane, it doesn't really matter. I chose Setup and Payoff just because I like the little Joker head on the bottom. I think it looks really funny. And it kind of looks like Mark Hamill's Joker, like from the animated Batman's, with like a Jester hat They should have given him a Jester hat as one of his gear pieces. The Jack in the Box, it doesn't matter. You only see it for special abilities and for his one fatality, so you can customize that however you want. I chose the Master of Mayhem skin just because it kind of reminds me of Cesar Romero's Joker, the more pink and light green color variations, instead of like the super dark purple and dark green color variation that we have for his like what he's showing off to have more these days. Intro, I just chose the card one. I don't know why, I just kind of liked it. And for the victory, I just chose the one where he laughs a lot. Again, I don't really know why I chose it, just I think it looks kind of cool. And the abilities don't really matter for this one. For Johnny Cage, for MK3, I gave him the LA 2019 glasses. These are the ones that look the closest to what he had in MK3. Alternatively, you could use the Invincible Force if you don't want like the super strong purple on the top like these ones do. But these glasses fit the shape much more. So I'll choose kind of accuracy over appearance over like a slight color change in this case. For his hand wraps, choose the Roller Hockey Champ hand wraps. These are ripped straight from Mortal Kombat 3. If you want, you can do the glowing ones if you want to make like a more like kind of futuristic sci-fi classic Johnny, but these are the classic hand wraps that you want from MK3. And in MK3, he actually doesn't have a belt buckle. So I just chose Driven to Greatness because I think it kind of just blends in with his belt buckle, with his like the blue strip around his pants. It doesn't like pop out like the big silver ones or the gold ones. Pick box office champ, it's straight up classic MK3 Johnny. Intro doesn't matter. Victory pose, Juice Fandemonium, it's his classic MK3 victory pose. For abilities, choose, alright, so I'm gonna say this now. Every single ability that I have equipped on my classic characters are meant to fit their classic arcade movesets. So in MK3, Johnny Cage can do the rising star, like the elbow where he flies up and elbows you. So that's why I chose that. And Cage Rage is just like another random ability that, I don't know, I just kind of put that there because I didn't really have it on anything else. Sonya. MK1 Sonya, choose regular army. It's just the normal black headband. Nothing really special. I think it's like, yeah, it's like a dark green headband. Choose the First Blood wrist blaster. And the turret doesn't matter. Pick the Training Day skin. It's the one that most closely replicates her MK1 look. Intro doesn't matter. You're gonna see a pattern. The intros mostly don't matter for these skins. But the victory pose, choose it. It's the same victory pose from MK3. Sonya's MK1 victory pose is this game, but it is for her MK3 victory pose. Let's check out which ability. Yeah, the abilities don't really matter for these. MK2 Sonya, just pick everything that MK2 Sonya skin bundle gives you. So just pick the headband, the high caliber, and the war crimes. Oh, the war crimes. The war games skin. War crimes should be the name for Revenant skin. So apparently this skin is from her MKX comics. I didn't read the comics, so I don't know. So since the skin came out, I just decided I'd make it. I couldn't find a skin in here that looked like her normal MKX, like her, and so I just chose the kind of like the frat, like kind of jockey jersey jacket with the the guns, all her gear doesn't really matter. Give her whatever you want. Intros, victory pose, give her whatever you want. Same with the abilities. Now for Jax, MK2, he doesn't have robotic arms in Mortal Kombat 2. That's one of his only appearances in the Mortal Kombat universe where he doesn't have robotic arms. So to try to capture this, give him his Honorable Soldier skin, because that's, it's like the black pants with the red stripes. You could get that as well with the, let's see, it's the classic. You could get that as well with this, but it makes his arms silver, and you don't want that if you're trying to make MK2 Jax. Because you want it to kind of closely blend in with his skin, because when you have this certain skin equipped, it makes any metal parts of his gear bronze. And I think at like a short glance, or if you're squinting or maybe far away from the screen, it's kind of hard to tell that his arms are actually metal. For the belt buckle, I just chose the combat medallion because, I don't know, I don't think he had a belt a belt on, or a belt buckle in MK2. So I just figured I'd give him like a Mortal Kombat themed belt buckle. And the grenade launcher doesn't really matter. Whoops. Victory pose doesn't matter. Actually, no. The intro does not matter, but the victory pose does matter. Give him his pumped up victory pose. It's his classic, like, flexing pose. Sorry if I stumble on my words a bit. It is currently 12:24 at night, and I'm pretty tired. For his abilities, give him the lethal clap, because that will allow you to do the head crush brutality from the arcade machines. And I don't think any of his other abilities lets you do classic brutality, so that's fine. MK3 Jax, the only that changed was the classic pouch and his Outworld Investigator skin. These came in the classic appearances pack. Now for Spawn, I've never read any of the Spawn comics, I've never seen any of the films, I never saw the animated series, so this is the best that I believe from the amount of research that I did on the character. So, give him his boot with the 3 kind of spiked bracers around his shin. You can get this and the knuckle duster in the new Spawn Tower that's gonna be up all week. And I've been having a lot of debates on which cape I should use. I was originally just gonna use the normal default cape, but as I looked around more, I saw that his collar was the more like curved shape of this one. So I just chose to use this one because I think he looks cooler anyway with the more like kind of curved collar shape. But if you want to clap Spawn, you can use this cape or this one. It doesn't matter which. For the skin, you need to use the Shadow Spawn. This is just straight up classic Spawn. And the victory poses and intros don't really matter. I just chose the King of Hell because this is... I see him in like this throne in most fan art that I see of him. Alternatively, you could use the Retribution because I believe I saw a Spawn comic book cover where he was like this. And the abilities doesn't really matter. Now for MK2 Scorpion. Same with Sonya and No and Jax. They got their classic skins in a pack. The Miho Demon. This is the mask that you want to make. That you want to equip. Swords doesn't really matter. I just kind of gave him just plain looking sword of the sheath. And for the spear, just use just straight up classic default spear. Use Guardians. Again, that came with a pack. Intro doesn't matter. Victory pose, use Honor Bound. Alternatively, if you want to make an MK1 Scorpion, instead of the Miho Demon one, use the Furious Akuma. The Furious Akuma. It's not perfect, it's not like the exact same, but about as close as you'll get. If you classic Scorpion in a modern Mortal Kombat game, you have to go all the way back to Mortal Kombat 9, because that's when you were able to use MK1 skins. For the abilities, use Dragon Breath, because this will allow you to do the toasty brutality. Now for MK4 Scorpion, the only things that changed are the harpoon, mask, and skin. I'm really debating. Alright, I'll get to this last. For the mask, I actually use the one you can get from the Kombat League. I know that, let me see if I can find it, yeah. I know that this is his official MK4 Scorpion mask, but how it's gold. Make this in, like, matte yellow. This, I'd have it equipped, but I think the gold stands out too much. See how, like, it just doesn't really fit in with the rest of his outfit? So that's why I'm choosing this one, because it still kind of has the skull nose, and it matches with his outfit better. Again, sword doesn't matter, and I've been trying really hard to find a good-looking harpoon for the skin. From the screenshots that I've seen, his harpoon is either this harpoon or this one. If I'm going to pick which one to use, I'd probably pick this one just because it looks better for his fatal blow, because when he goes to stab the eyes, it actually looks like he's going into the eyes. When you use it, it looks like he's into the opponent's eyebrows and cheek. It doesn't line up with the eyes. So I'd probably use the Demon's Gate key harpoon. And then for the skin, Soul Control is going to be the closest that you'll get. Victory Pose, just same, use Honor Bound, use the same exact abilities I used for the MK2 Scorpion. For Noob Saibot, his skin and mask came with another skin, the same one that brought the classic Scorpion and Sub-Zero. So I use this noob mask. I don't use the silver one. I use dark purple. It fits with his outfit better. The sickle, I like to use like a thin sickle for his classic look, so this is the thinnest one that I could find. For a shadow, I like to choose the shadow that has like the least amount of like stuff going on. Like if I'm making a classic Noob Saibot shadow, I don't want one with like any silver on him or any like glowing bits. I just want like as much darkness as possible, because in the original arcade machines, Noob Saibot was just jet black. He had no features visible on him, so this is about the most plain shadow that I can find. Plus, I think it looks pretty cool with the little shoulder spikes there. For the skin, use the hidden enemy skin. And intro doesn't matter. The victory pose, though, I'll get to that once I get to my MK9 Noob Saibot. Abilities really matter. I think he used a ghost ball in the original Mortal Kombat, but I might be wrong. I feel like in the combat cast for Mortal Kombat, they mentioned it was like, hey, Ghost Ball back from the arcade, but I might be wrong. Okay, for MK9, the only thing that changes is the mask and the skin. So use the classic Noob Saibot mask. This is ripped straight from Mortal Kombat 9, except for the hood. If this skin had a hood, it would almost be a perfect Noob Saibot from MK9. Use Ghastly Killer. It's not quite classic, but it matches what he had in MK9 almost perfectly. And this is where the victory pose comes in. The mirror match victory pose is super similar to what he had in Mortal Kombat 9. Him and his shadow ended off with them back to back. I'll play it again. For Baraka, I can only make one classic skin for him, because he doesn't really have that much their various looks in other games. And plus the skins in this game are mostly just him shirtless. So, if you want to make a classic Baraka, you're gonna want the Wuxi Temple Pillagers. These are like the straight metal blades. Nothing really fancy going on with them. Originally, I had these blades right here. See how they like start off thick and they end off like thinner, kind of like toothpicks? That's what I had originally, and then once I got tired of those, I chose these ones where they're like extra big and then they like kind of thin off at the top. And then I had these, which don't really match the shape. They're like more like kind of, you can see the shape. They kind of go off in like arrowheads at the top. But then eventually I was finally able to unlock these classic Temple Pillager blades. Don't give him any headgear if you're gonna make a classic Baraka. He was completely bald, no spikes on the head or anything, no headgear, so just give him the default. And the flag, it doesn't really matter. Skin heart is the closest that you're gonna get. His default appearance is very, very similar, but it gives him this giant kinda leather, like this leather armor piece protecting his stomach. He did not have this in the classic games. He just had straight up, just kind of like a wife beater. I don't know what the official name is for like this type of torso piece. It's kind of like a tank top with the red stripes. For the intros, it doesn't really matter. I gave him the War Dog because he does his classic pose in his intro. And for the victory pose, give him his Tarkata Forever victory pose because it's his classic win animation. For the abilities, give him Blade Charge because that will allow you to do the fatality, do the brutality, where he like picks the opponent up with the spikes and they slide down. Now for MK9 Raiden, they didn't give him his classic straw hat in this game. In the story mode, he uses it. But it's not, it doesn't have like, it doesn't have like the, you know, the kind of pattern, like the woven pattern that like traditionally have. Did I say straw hat earlier? I meant rice hat. So Truth and Light is what I believe he had in Mortal Kombat 10, but I'm not sure. I just prefer this look over this look for whatever reason. These two are interchangeable. If you want to use this one, you can. If you want to use this one, you can. For staff, I just gave him just a plain wooden staff, just a wooden bow staff. And he doesn't have a medallion in Mortal Kombat 1 or 3, but I gave him his Life Stealer amulet. You need to buy the Gothic Horror pack if you want this. I just feel like this is, I think it's the smallest out of all of them. It's like thinner than most of them, and it just kind of blends in easier. And it just looks really simple. It's not like it's not like lit up or anything like that. Give him his classic combatant skin. Intro doesn't matter. Victory pose, give him his high voltage victory pose. The abilities, I don't think it matters. If he has a classic brutality that's linked to one of these abilities, I haven't found it yet. Now for MK2 Raiden, literally the only thing that changes is skin, and you need to have the Mortal Kombat Mythologies skin. I believe this came with a crypt event, but it might be wrong. Alright, for 10 Jackie, I tried to recreate what she had on for default appearance. It was kind of like the digital camo kind of army uniform. She doesn't have that in this game, so I just kind of had to make do. So I chose the right straight overkill gauntlets and the left straight overkill. And the grenade, the shield battery, it doesn't really matter. I just gave her the Star Saver one because I think it looks cool. Her skin was Blue Force, and intro, victory pose, abilities, none of that really matters at all. For MK2 Sub-Zero, give him his Lin Kuei Grandmaster mask. His axe, it doesn't really matter. I just gave him his axes because, I don't know, they look pretty simple to me. They're not like super intricate like this one or this one. It just looks like a classic, normal looking axe. If you want, you can use this one if you want metal look. I might actually use it actually, but I kind of like the cracked ice look of this one. I don't know. I'll have to play around with these. The axes only appear in certain moves in his, what's it called? His Fatal Blow, so it's not like you're gonna see him often. For his belt, use the Frozen Monkey's Paw belt. It's the one that completely removes anything on his waistline. The 93 Below skin came from the same skin that brought the Classic Scorpion Noob Saibot, so just equip that one. Intro doesn't matter, victory pose, give him the For the Lin Kuei victory pose. For the abilities, I gave him the ground ice ability. In the arcade machine, he could create a puddle of ice and make the opponent slip. Ground ice ability is the closest to making a puddle of ice and making the opponent slip, except in this game, it freezes their leg down for a few seconds. So that's about as closely I could get to that. For Mortal Kombat 9 Scorpion, everything is the same except the mask. Give him the Grandmaster's Hoarfrost mask. This is ripped straight from Mortal Kombat 9. Let me see, I believe... Yeah. If this one is ripped straight from Mortal Kombat 9, this one up here has like glowing bits on it. But if you use the skin that I'm about to show you, it gets rid of the glowing effect. And that's the Cold Fury skin. This is about as close as I could get to Mortal Kombat 9. Intro, victory pose, same thing, abilities, same. Now for Kano. Let me see real quick. Okay. Alright, so for MK1 Kano, every single bit of his classic MK3 look came with this skin pack, but I feel like you could make a really convincing looking MK1 Kano with these skins. So for his eye, use the Odessa eye. This is the one that came with this the gear pack. In Mortal Kombat 1, Kano doesn't have a cybernetic heart, so I just classic bolted iris because It's one of the only pieces on his chest that doesn't have like a huge glowing red light. It has a very small one that kind of blends in with his satchel. Not satchel, his bandolier. And for his knife, use the bloke bleeder if this one came with gear. Because for this, use the white variation of his classic arcade look. This one most accurately represents what he had in Mortal Kombat 1. In Mortal Kombat 1, he just had like a normal plain white tunic on, pretty much. Intro does not matter. Victory pose doesn't really matter. I just use the piece of piss one. For his abilities, you want manhandled. And what manhandled does is allow you to do the skeleton rip fatality, where Kano rips the skeleton out of his opponent. And if you want to have his laser beam fatality, where he shoots the character's eye off, the face off, you can use optic blast. However, I didn't optic blast in this moveset because it gets rid of his blade throwing abilities. For MK3 Kano, I used the classic Kano Prime Eye, and I know that this skin came with the eye that I just showed you, but I feel like the classic Kano Prime Eye fits Mortal Kombat 3 a little bit better, and it's what I had in the story mode, which tried to recreate this. Use the classic cybernetic heart that came with the gear pack, and the blade is the same. And then for just use the default skin that came with the gear, just the red and black. Intros, victory pose, same, abilities the same. Now for Cabal, I've been working on Cabal for a while, and I think I finally got it down. So Mortal Kombat 3 Cabal, I just recently unlocked the Cabal mask. Originally, I had been stuck with this one, and I'm so relieved that I finally got the regular mask for this. For his hooks, use the classic Cabal hooks. It's in the name, same with the classic Cabal mask. This canister had the knife in the back, because I don't think he had canister arcade machines. I wonder if there's a classic gas canister. I don't think so. Yeah. Okay. For MK3, he's burned in MK3, but in back behind is unburned variation. Also in MK3, he has the double ponytails and longer hair, but he doesn't have ponytails in this version, and his long hair variations are only in his burnt skin variations and his revenant skin variations. If we were to make this skin, give him his burnt flesh, then the almost perfect MK3 Cabal. If they just made this but with his normal burnt flesh, non-revenant flesh, this would be almost perfect. His intro doesn't matter. Use his chop victory pose. It's the exact same animation. For his abilities, rolling buzzsaw, was able to do this in arcade machines, and use gas blast. This allows you to do the scream brutality, where he takes his mask off and scares the ghost out of his opponent. Now for Mortal Kombat 9, literally the only thing that changes is his mask, which is no cure for sadness mask. And the underdone skin. This is the I could find to Mortal Kombat 9. If they had a black variation of the skin, then that variation would fit better, but we'll just have to stick with the green. Okay, Liu Kang. For Mortal Kombat 3, Liu Kang. Let's just wait for it to load. Oh god, what time is it? It's 12:49. Alright. Uses default red headband. Nunchucks doesn't really matter. I tried to find one that blended in best with the red around its waist, so I just used these nunchucks. And the bracers use the unrelenting python grip bracers. Alternatively, you could use the fire shot bracers, but I think I like the look of the black bracers better. The Young Justice skin was found in a crypt event. I'm not sure it's coming, but you'll just have to learn. Intro doesn't matter. Victory pose, use the for your victory pose. Abilities doesn't really matter. This for the variation of Liu Kang. I don't think any of these abilities has what's it called? Classic brutality. Now, for zombie Liu Kang, everything is the same except for his bracers. Give him the bracers with the chains around his arms, because in what? I'm not exactly sure which game that zombie Liu Kang was in. I'm gonna probably butcher it. I'm just probably Deception is my guess, or maybe Deadly Alliance or something. He used chains with his fighting style. He had like long chains that he would whip around, kind of like Takeda. But this is kind of just pays homage to the chains they use. And use the Dragon Devil skin. And the victory pose and stay the same. Katana. Her, Scarlet, and Jade all got classic appearances in the gear pack. So use the classic mask. For the fans, I use the Winds of Destiny. And for her, the Sai, it doesn't really matter. I just used Old Faithful. I'm pretty sure these Sai are from a Mortal Kombat game that Melina used, like the exact same model, like the MK dragon in the middle. For the skin, use the Regal Authority skin. For Mortal Kombat 2 Kung Lao, use the Protector of the Light hat. If it will load. There we go. Use the, just the no arm bracers gear piece. Just plain bare arms. And there's currently no piece of gear that allows you to get rid of the insignia, so I just kept it as the default. Shitty option they gave him, like boots or something. I used Forged by Fire skin. This is the closest I could get to Mortal Kombat 2. The intro doesn't really matter. I use the Salutations pose because in one of his victory poses in Kombat 2, I believe, he does this motion with his hat. He does like the shink, but he does something afterwards, but this is as close as you can get. For the abilities, use the Z hat and the guided hat. The Z hat allows you to replicate the fatality where he cuts off your head, and then he cuts off your torso, and then he cuts off your legs. And then the guided hat, this one allows you to do his classic toss fatality. You wouldn't be able to do it otherwise unless you have guided hat, because you have to guide the hat upwards a little bit, because normally when you do a normal hat toss, it hits them in like the chest area. So when you have guided hat, you're able to like maneuver it up and down, so you'll be able to aim for the neck and actually decapitate your opponent. For Mortal Kombat 3, the only thing that changed was bracers. The spiral-bound warrior bracers. And the young dragon skin. I might be wrong, but the classic Kung Lao skin, I believe it came with a Shaolin hat. However, I don't really think it looks that much like what it did in the arcade, so that's why I chose Protector of the Light. Now, Jade, I'm so happy about what they did. Green, but recently, and I don't know when you have the classic Jade skin equipped, she gets her classic pink staff, and I'm so happy about that. Use the classic mask, of course. And the twist of the North Star Razorangs. Originally, I had these Razorangs equipped, because these are ones that she used in MK3. However, the skin that Jade has on right now is an MK2 female uniform. She did not appear playable in MK2. She was a secret character. She was a color-swapped version of Kitana. She had Kitana's fans, but she was just green and had darker skin. So that's why I have these fans equipped, is to kind of pay homage to her being pretty much a palette swap version of Kitana originally. For the staff, it doesn't really matter. I used the default staff because it shows off the pink more. And then use the top secret skin. Intro does not matter. Victory pose that you can earn from the gauntlet. Counter-Strike victory pose. And the abilities, I don't think they really matter for this. For Classic Scarlet, use the classic mask. The Dagger of Ophelia. Default blood cannon. For the skin, use the blood skin. Intro and victory pose doesn't matter for this. Her first appearance was in Mortal Kombat 9. Abilities doesn't really matter as well. For Aaron Black, from MKX, use the classic hat and mask. And I originally equipped the new guns, the new rifle and revolvers that you got from the recently added skin pack, the one with Kodal, Jackie, and Aaron. Use the new rifle that they added. It's the one that looks the most like a normal Winchester. All the other ones just look really weird, and see, it just looks really like, it just looks off. There's like, they look old-fashioned, but they have modern elements that I didn't really like. But this one's just a normal, simple-looking rifle. And then use the Caesar and Cleopatra revolvers. Alternatively, you could use any just normal looking revolvers. I think originally I had the Death and Taxes revolvers equipped, but I really like how the Caesar and Cleopatra revolvers look. And who knows, these might even match Mortal Kombat. These might even match MKX Aaron Black's revolvers. But I'm not sure, I haven't looked at a reference photo in a while. For the skin, use the Skullduggery skin. This one matches his MKX look as close as you can. Intros and victory poses doesn't really matter. I chose the MAM victory pose just because I think it looks cool. And it kind of matches his victory pose from MKX where he goes bullseye and he like aims at the camera. Abilities, it doesn't really matter. We're reaching the end, folks. MKX Devora. I used the Blightbringer's Aviposture. I think these match the best. For the Swarm, I used the Arthropod Army. Wings, it doesn't really matter. I just used the Spotted Blood Raptor wings. For a skin, just use a normal default skin. It's about the best I can able to get. Intros, victory poses, doesn't really matter. Abilities doesn't matter. For MKX Kotal, use I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that first word. Use this McQueedle. It's the red one with the snakes on it. For the hook blades, use the Puma snake hooks. These are ripped straight from Mortal Kombat X. And the totem, I just used the Sun God totem. For the skin, use the default skin. Could use the Justice Hunter skin, but it gives him long pants, and he didn't have long pants in MKX, his legs were exposed. Intros, victory pose, doesn't really matter. If you want to stretch, you can use the Blessed Sun victory pose, because in MKX, his victory pose, he like slit his hand open and he put his arms up to the gods. So if you want to stretch and be like, hey, that's his classic, go right ahead. Abilities, doesn't really matter. I tried making this like a sun god variation, because all my other variations were like a blood god, the Aztec jaguar, like the Aztec jaguar variation, and this one was like a pure like totem based variation. So you can do whatever you want for the abilities. Terminator. Glasses. His 12 gauge autoloader shotgun. You could use the pumped iron shotgun, but the 12 gauge autoloader brings out that varnish in the wood way better. And the grenades, it doesn't really matter. I just chose grenades that blend in the most of his pants. Use the deadly cyborg skin. Alternatively, you could use the systematic. However, in the movies, he always wore the blue jeans of the super gray shirt, not like the, it could be white or it could be gray shirt, just the pure gray shirt. Even though it makes the metal on his gun like his gold color variation, I prefer the silver variation, but there's nothing much he can do there, unfortunately. Now, he has Easter eggs in every single one of his victory poses and intros. If you want to read where he's walking down the hallway, use the action figure intro. However, I gave him his motorcycle intro just because I think it looks fucking badass when he gets off that motorcycle. Alternatively, use time bubble. However, in the movies, when he did that, he was completely nude, so it doesn't really make sense that he's moved. For his victory pose, you can give him his classic Terminator intro. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. You also give him his endoskeleton. This is another classic scene from the movie. But I chose to give him his reborn victory pose because it matches with his motorcycle intro animation. Don't worry about the glasses being off in the collection screen. When you're playing in game, if you get this victory pose, his glasses do stay on, so don't worry about that. Abilities doesn't really matter. Gearus, Collector, and Cetrion weren't in any other games, so they don't really have a classic. But Citadel does. Use the Glorious Mane hairpiece. The Humiliator boots, I believe these are ripped straight from Mortal Kombat 3. And the Naginata, it doesn't really matter, just, you can choose whatever. If I was dedicated enough, I'd look up to see what she'd used in, I think it was Deadly Alliance when they gave her Kwando, but I haven't looked anywhere, so I just gave her a random one. Give her Birthright to Rule skin. This is her classic purple vest look. Intro doesn't really matter. Victory pose, the dark humor most closely replicates her classic victory pose. And the abilities, it doesn't really matter. I just used Maleficent March because I believe you can get the like the classic Scream brutality where she like screams the opponent's skin off their bodies and the body just like stays there standing. And just as an alternate, give her the deceiving, the deserving, because originally Sindel was gonna have the exact same outfit except in this red color variation. I believe the actress did wear this while they were shooting scenes from Mortal Kombat 9, but when the game, before the game came out, they just went in post and made every red part of her outfit purple for whatever reason. Okay, that's about it for every single classic skin that you can make. If you want, I'll just go in right now. Right here. Is it? It's like, yeah. MK9 Shang Tsung. There you go. Just give them the same stuff that you had for Mortal Kombat 3. Just give them the student death skin, and boom, MK1 Shang Tsung. Or maybe it was yeah. No, cunning adversary. Not student, cunning adversary. Is that it? If you want to make like a Mortal Kombat 1 Johnny Cage or Mortal Kombat 2, I'm not entirely sure which one. Just keep as normal. Is default. Fists on. I think MK1 Johnny Cage, he didn't have any bracers on, so you can just get rid of him if you want to make a MK1 Johnny. Let's see. If you want to make MK versus DC, give her the Earth Realm. The Death Touch one. For this variation, I might go in and get her actual MK versus DC risk gun, but please skin. That might be all, guys. I'll probably go in and change this out because I'm not really a big fan of the harpoon and all that. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Alright, thanks for watching. Sorry if I stuttered a lot during this video. It is now 1:10 in the morning, and I went to bed at 5:40 in the morning last night, so I had 4 hours of sleep total, because I woke up at like 9-10 o'clock. But yeah, see ya.